Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to the 6th lecture of the Mastering Yourself series. During this lecture, we are going to discuss the topic of handling drawdown. Handling drawdown is, in my opinion, something that you need to understand. If you do not understand how to handle drawdown properly and you simply go into the charts only with the mindset of, okay, I'm looking for this and this and this, and I just going to press buttons based off that, you're going to hurt yourself over time. This is something every single trader experiences, and the reason why is because everyone thinks that the edge that they're looking for lies within their technical edge. But let me tell you something. The edge that you're looking for is within your own mind. And during this lecture, I will discuss that with you. First of all, we need to answer the question, how does drawdown get caused in the first place? Drawdown is either a result of you following your protocol or you not following your protocol. That makes sense, right? You either do the right thing and you take a loss based off you doing the right thing, or you do the wrong thing and you take an unrequired loss. Those are the two variations of drawdown. Now, this is very simplistic, but the reason why I mention this is because you need to begin to look at drawdown through the following perspective. You either take a loss which is completely according to your rules, or you take a loss which is not according to your rules. Those are the losses you need to be very mindful of. There's no in between, meaning you either do the right thing or you do the wrong thing. Don't think, oh, I kind of did the right thing, but on the other hand, I also did the wrong thing. No, when there's any doubt about whether or not you're doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing. You need to absolutely know what you're looking for, when you're looking for it, and how you're going to execute based off that. What drawdown looks like when you follow the protocol. When you follow your protocol, drawdown looks like the following. You take one loss or you take two losses and you're done for the session or day. You don't try to go out there and do more. No, you're simply content with this. The reason why you're content with this is because by not taking more trades and putting on more risk, you're limiting yourself to only that one loss or those two losses for the session or day. You do not rush back into the markets to try and regain lost equity. If you have the character trait of wanting to regain lost equity, what you will find out over time is that by you wanting to regain that lost equity so quickly because you're impatient, you're actually going to cause yourself more harm than what you did in the first place. If you did not watch these lectures yet of the model series, the risk management lecture and the money management lecture, I would highly advise you to stop watching this lecture right now and move on to them, because these lectures explain to you how I advise you to manage your money accordingly. I'm not giving you any financial advice, but I'm sharing with you how I would suggest you to begin looking at risk management and how you should begin to think about handling drawdown. Everyone goes through drawdown, but how we deal with drawdown is what matters. What could happen when you don't follow the protocol and you get into drawdown? You take a loss which was not according to your protocol and you then make the right decision to stop. This is the perfect thing that you need to do. The moment you recognize that you just took a trade that was not according to your rules, you need to say, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to try and do more. I'm not going to try and risk more. No, I'm going to stop, because there's a reason why I put on that trade in the first place that was not according to my rules. The majority of the times, you will realize that there was something in your personal life, something in your own mind, which caused you to want to project that onto the marketplace. And be mindful of that. Don't try to fight it, because if you try to fight that, you are going to do the wrong thing. And that is what we will discuss now. You take one loss which was not according to your protocol, and that turns into a series of losses because you want to regain the lost equity so badly. You're not thinking about following your protocol anymore. You're not thinking about doing the right thing anymore. You're not even thinking about the trades that you're putting on. All you could think about is regaining that lost equity. You're so focused on the P&L of your challenge or of your funded account or even of your personal account that you cannot see what the market is telling you what it's going to do. That right there is a result of you projecting all of that emotional baggage onto the charts. You do not think about following your protocol anymore, and you begin to justify taking bad trades. This right here is one of the most toxic character traits that you need to deal with. I believe everyone goes through this at some stage in their journey, where something in their personal life might be the root cause for this, or something in their own mind. It might be a mental health issue that is causing this. Everyone goes through a phase where it literally is hard for them to stick to their own rules, to stick to their own protocols. But when you are going through this phase, you need to understand that there's a reason why you are going through that. This is exactly why, before discussing how to handle drawdown, I first touched on, okay, how could your personal life be of influence onto your, for example, trading performance? Or how could your emotional state be of influence to your trading performance? When you are not aware of those things that are influencing your actions behind the charts, it doesn't matter how good you think of, okay, this is my protocol, these are my rules, this is what I'm going to look for, all of that stuff. It doesn't matter because you haven't mastered yourself. You don't understand yourself yet. And therefore, I want you to literally begin looking in the mirror and looking at yourself. And based off that, begin to make changes that will allow you to begin following the protocols. When you look back at all trades taken, you will question why you took those trades. This is referred to as going on tilt. This basically means that you lost the plot. You literally lost your sense of self-control. This right here is the most dangerous thing that can occur when you're behind the charts. And when you experience this, when you go through this, because I'm telling you, if you have never experienced this, you will experience it one day and you're going to be grateful for what I'm about to share with you. When you go through this and you experience it, you don't try and go out there the next day or the next session and say to yourself, I need to regain what was just lost whilst I went on tilt. Take a break. If you go into the charts after you went on tilt with the desire of wanting to regain that lost equity, you are going to cause yourself a lot of mental harm, because what you will do is you will take all of that negative baggage with you into the charts the next session or the next day. Everyone goes through this. So when you experience this, don't be mad about it. Don't be upset with yourself. Don't be like, oh, my failure, blah, blah, blah. No, you're not. This is all part of the process. You need to understand that the reason why you go on tilt is because you haven't mastered yourself yet. If you experience a sense of, okay, I lose the plot, I lose self-control, you don't say to yourself, this is the end, my career is over, or all of this stuff. No, you look at it as, okay, I made some bad decisions, I did the wrong thing for that day, and there it ends. You learn from the experiences and you begin to look back at what occurred in advance of you going on tilt. Because you going on tilt is one thing, but what caused you to go on tilt? What was there present in your mind? Which thought processes were present in your mind, or what occurred in your personal life that made you go on tilt? And how did you react to those things? This right here is what I want you to focus on, guys. And this is something that no one touches on, no trader discusses, because it's hard discussing these emotional things. But that's exactly why I decided to share this series with you. And I hope that you are taking notes and that you're learning a lot from it. Avoiding going on tilt. First of all, I would suggest you to be more aware of your own actions behind the charts by focusing more on the process which leads to you put on a trade. Let me explain. Every single trade that you take has to be based on sound logic. Sound logic being in accordance with your own protocol, meaning your own technical protocol. But that technical protocol is not enough. You need to have a protocol that literally says how you should act. This is operator management. This is something I've discussed prior during the model series already, and it's something I'm already discussing during this psychology series as well. But I'm just going to give you a brief explanation. Let's say you come to the charts and you notice that there's something on your mind that's just bothering you. There's something which has really made you upset, for example. You go into the charts and you see the Nasdaq provides an opportunity. You take the trade. You see a fair value gap form. You enter based off that fair value gap and you think to yourself, okay, that's the setup. Boom, here we go. And what occurs? Market takes you out. And you're like, huh? Why did I get taken out? I saw a fair value gap and therefore that should function as support on price if bullish, right? What you did not understand was that you rushed into the position. You did not adhere to your own protocol of do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. No, you simply saw the fair value gap, the entry pattern, and you pushed the button. That right there is not following the process. It's simply you chasing an emotional stimuli inside of these charts, inside of these markets, and that is not allowed. If you recognize that you're doing this, and if you recognize that you're chasing price, stop. Don't do more. Stop. Be mindful of why you're behaving that way, because there's a deeper reason for it. Once the setup has played out, that was, however, according to your rules in which you followed the full protocol, you begin reflecting. You don't try to do something new again. You don't try to get into a new relationship, into a new trade setup, if you may wish. No, you simply say, I just took a trade. The outcome has been provided, whether it be positive or negative, whether it be a win, a break even, or a loss. I'm going to look what made me take the trade, what I saw within the market, how I engaged based off that, and how the trade eventually played out. You're not going to go out there and think, I need to do more. I need to do something new again. Okay, that didn't play out. What's the next thing to do? No, because if you would allow for that to occur, you are going to find yourself take more trades than what is required, and the quality of your trades will decrease. If you do not take the time to reflect on what you just did within the markets, it's very easy to lose focus and allow your monkey brain to take control over your own actions. When this occurs, you need to stop. The moment you recognize that you're losing control, that you as the analyst are no longer in the driver's seat, you stop. You don't try to go out there and swing for the fences. Because the reason why so many people in this business fail is because they are not able to limit themselves. That is the type of mindset that you need to develop, in which you're able to limit yourself. If you're unable to limit yourself, and if you're unable to say no to yourself, you will cause yourself harm by going on tilt. And that is a result of these markets playing in on your emotions as a human. This is natural, but therefore we need to put systems in place which allow us to thrive and become better. You need to guard your mind, guys. You literally need to take control back of your own mind. So many people nowadays, they just go about their days every single day and they just kind of sleepwalk through life. They have their eyes closed and they just, they live and they think, oh, life is going to come upon me. When you allow for that mindset to come with you into the charts, what will happen is that you will just see so many entry patterns that you're just going to push buttons based off those entry patterns, and you're not going to adhere to the protocols that you have. And then you're going to be questioning, does this stuff work? Does this stuff repeat? Whilst in reality, the thing that's holding you back is you. When you come to that mindset that you are the reason for your own failures and you're able to take responsibility for that, that is where the growth takes place. But it doesn't occur until you begin guarding your mind and until you begin saying no to everything or everyone around you that has a negative impact on your own mindset. Losing control behind the charts can result in physical symptoms such as stress manifesting itself in your body. The symptoms of this could be, for example, that you notice that your palms begin to sweat, or you begin sweat to arise on your face or anywhere else on your body, or you begin to notice that your heartbeat begins to increase, or you begin to notice that you get some pain in your neck or in your lower back or in your legs. When you recognize these symptoms of physical stress, which are a result of you losing control in your mind, you need to stop. I don't care what you're doing, but you need to stop. Close any position that's open and log out of the accounts. Doesn't matter if it's a challenge account or a live account, doesn't matter. What you need to do is you need to remove risk from the equation and you need to close shop. Why? If you do not listen to the symptoms that are present in your body of you losing the plot, you will harm yourself. And you will look back at everything that you did on that session or during that session or day, and you're going to literally ask to yourself, why the F did I not listen to my body when it signaled to me that I was losing the plot in my own mind? This is something which you will have to experience first before you understand the true value in what I just shared. But for those of you that have already been trading for a while and you have experienced this, you will listen to this and you're going to be like, man, oh man, how is it possible that he understands this? How is it possible that he knows this? Because I went through that same shit. And it's normal because everyone goes through that shit. But it's about how you deal with those events and how you do not dwell on them. If you do not process the event of you losing control properly, it will haunt you moving forward. And you will notice actively that your mind is constantly going to dwell on that experience and you're going to lose your confidence in your own ability to execute whatever protocol you may adhere to. And this is something which we cannot allow to occur. Maybe the lack of confidence is truly a result of you not having any protocols when it comes to your own mental state. And if that is the case, I would highly advise you to just take a step back. Don't rush into new positions. Don't rush into new trades. Take a step back and take the time to put systems in place for you to thrive within your own mind. Examples of systems to handle drawdown. When you take one loss for the session or day, it means that you are done for that session or day. The reason why I put session or day is because this is basically a variable that is depending on your own experience. If you have been trading for a long time, then you could say, okay, if I take one loss during the morning session, I can look to trade again during the afternoon session to maybe regain that lost equity from the morning session, but I know I need to decrease my risk. If you are, however, completely new to trading and you have never been at a stage of consistently being profitable, what you need to do is you need to limit the amount of opportunity for you to harm yourself. Let me tell you something. If you say to yourself that you're only allowed one bullet for that day, meaning one shot, you will force yourself to develop a sense of patience and develop a sense of the desire to wait for the conditions to be aligned, for everything to be aligned properly before you're looking to trade. And that right there is going to build the character which you need to come to a stage where you're like, damn, I know exactly what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. When you get to that stage, you have arrived. And that is when you can let go of that limit of just one loss per day, whether it be during the morning or afternoon session. And that is when you can look to say, okay, if I take one loss during the morning session, I can look to also trade the afternoon session with less risk to try and regain the lost equity of the morning session. But if you're completely new, the worst thing you can do is try and push it. So you need to limit yourself. And you limit yourself by only allowing yourself one bullet. When you take a trade, you reflect right away on that trade. This is the second system which we're going to put in play. If you try to rush into a new trade after the outcome of the first trade has presented itself, you are going to take unrequired risk. This right here is what I discussed prior already, but this is something that you really need to begin understanding. How many times did you take a bad trade and you thought, now it should begin to deliver, and what occurs? You just push it again, and what occurs? You take even a bigger loss than that first loss which you have. And if you then push it again, you take even a bigger loss. So you make a very minor loss and you turn it into a bigger loss simply because you did not take the time to reflect on what you did in the first place. If you cross your drawdown limit for the session or day, you are done for the session or day. This means that for you, you need to define for yourself what your drawdown limit is. This could be, for example, let's say an X% of your account or an X% of the challenge that you're working with. When this percent of loss gets crossed and you lose this equity, you do not think to yourself, I need to do more. No, you think to yourself, I need to stop right now and I'm going to reflect. I'm going to be content with this and I'm going to come back the day afterwards or maybe even 2 days afterwards. It doesn't matter. You know that a new setup will present itself and you know exactly what the chances are of that setup playing out. Set realistic expectations for yourself. Allow yourself to end a day in drawdown. This falls in line with the tips that I provided of the systems which I suggest you to put in place. The reason why is because if you think that you're not allowed to end a day in drawdown due to your own ego telling you that you should always end the day in the green, you are going to cause yourself more harm. Because what you would do is you would take unrequired risk in the hopes, yes, in the hopes, listen to me closely, you hope something, yes, you hope that you will be able to regain that lost equity by taking a trade. You do not listen to what IPTA is signaling. You do not listen to what the algorithm is telling you for that session or day. That right there is something you need to come to terms with. You have absolutely no control over what is likely going to happen next. All you have control over is whether or not you're aligned with the markets and whether or not you're doing the right thing consistently. Therefore, allow yourself to end the day in drawdown when you know that you are done. Just because you know a new setup will present itself during, for example, the next macro window, it does not mean you should be out there swinging for the fences and that you should be out there just pushing it. This right here is something I want you to write down if you are struggling with limiting yourself. If you are struggling with limiting yourself and being content with walking away and being content with enough, you need to understand that you only need one trade a session, or one trade a day, on the days that you decide to trade in the first place, because not every single day is a day to trade, as I outlined multiple times in the past. You need to guard your mind and you need to guard your mental capital. This right here is something I want you to begin putting more emphasis on. I want you to literally put this at the top of your protocol. If your mind is not clear and if you're not in the right mental state, how the F can you think that you're likely going to perform well in the markets? You can't. So therefore, stop thinking that when your mind is not well, that you'll be able to perform well. The conclusion is the following of this lecture. If you do not take control of yourself when you're behind the charts, you can cause yourself a drawdown which will take a long time to fix. Systems need to be put in place in which you keep yourself grounded and balanced. Set realistic expectations for yourself. Everything that I discussed during this lecture is based upon personal experience. I went through this stuff. I literally went through all of the pain that you're probably going through right now. Therefore, I want you to understand that there's light on the other side of that darkness in which you're just able to do what is right. Until you begin to change your own actions and your own thought patterns, you are going to consistently repeat the same mistakes. If you consistently repeat the same things and expect a different outcome, that is foolishness. And that is something we cannot allow. You need to literally take control back of your own mind and you need to literally say, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to fix this thought process in my mind. Because at the end of the day, this battle is won in your own mind. That is what I want to end today's lecture with. I hope that you found insightful. And during the next lectures, I want to touch more on your own mind and its influence on the markets. Be safe.